computer. Recording in progress. This is not unlike a Zoom presentation, which of course I've been doing for a while now. I see beautiful faces in front of me, and I'm recording and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's a good day. Okay, thank you, oh brave, in the face of our invasive weather here. But there it is. So hi, my name is Kevin. Michael's over here. He'll be speaking as well. We're going to unveil 2024 here. This is recording, so this will be available to other folks as necessary. Why are we doing this in May? The feedback that we got from some folks is that catalogs from other travel companies came out in the summer. And by the time our catalog came out in November, a lot of folks had already made their plans, which is completely fair because when you get a catalog, you're excited, you make your plans. So they said, well, if you get out in front of them though, maybe you will beat them. So we're gonna put it out here in May. This is the grand experiment. This room is an experiment as well. We actually are looking for feedback for those of you who are in the room on whether you like this one versus the other one. Lynn already says no. Okay. So yes, give us feedback so we'll know for next year. And yeah, we're going to go through. If you have any questions, those of you at home, please put them in the chat window. Those of you here, go ahead and just say something and we'll get you all set. For those of you here with me, there is a brochure at the back. There's a little piece of paper and a pen. Yeah, I think you all have it for you to be able to sign up for some things tonight. And yeah, we're gonna go from there. Here we are doing this again. It seems just 6 months ago since we did this. It was, ta-da. All right, let's meet the team. Kendall, whom you remember, she's gone on to some new work. So she's trying something else. So you're not going to see her tonight, unfortunately, but I'm still here. Here we have some fun pictures of me over the years. I guess I have my mouth open a lot. 3 of those pictures I'm screaming. The one is because my hair's wet. The other is because I'm happy to see the lynx. Then I'm running away from the terrifying badger there in Delta. Anyway, so there I am, Kevin, yay. And then of course, we have the delightful Michael, who had to get in on the screaming part, except here, instead of screaming because he sees a badger, it's a bear. And then there's a T-Rex that's trying to eat. I think that's no, that's Libby and it's Tookie. Okay, maybe Mary Beth, I can't tell, but so we have some pictures. These are your folks. I'm more of the front of shop and Michael's the one who takes care of all the things behind the shop. Speaking of which, I'm going to hand this over to Michael because this is his domain.
All right, folks, so yes, I am more behind the scenes, as many of you already know. You get all of the emails and tour confirmations, payment reminders, all of that fun stuff from me. So for our 2024 tours, something that is a little different this year, we have a discount, and so I'll go over that, but it is a longer discount than what we had in previous years. So when you go to register, most of the reservations take place on our website. So you go to treasureboxtours.com. All of the day tours, overnight tours will be listed, and all of 2024 tours will be listed this evening at 7 p.m. on the website. You add them to your cart, and then if it's an overnight tour, it's either you have the choice, and you'll have the options when you go to register for just paying the 10% deposit or paying in full. Our discount
We lost your sound, Kevin. We lost your.
We lost audio.
And the sound needs to be louder as well.
There we go. Is sound back? I know sounds good here. We're making sure the folks on our Zoom call can hear us. I think sound is back now. Yes, sound's back. All right, got some confirmation. All right, so registering all day tours, you will pay in full when you go to register online. The overnights, again, you have the option between deposit or full payment. And if you're on an overnight tour and you are just by yourself, when you go to sign up online, you may request a roommate. Otherwise, you're just going to pay the single occupancy rate. Oh, please, I got to go back to my computer. Okay, on to our next slide. And again, roommates. You may request a roommate. If you're looking to find a new friend and you request a roommate, but you don't have the name of the person, we will look for a roommate for you now that we are past the pandemic restrictions. Okay, so this just shows you how to register online. So again, you go to treasureboxtours.com/group tours. You'll see our tours listed. Scroll down to find the tours that you want. And then you'll click on each tour that you want to register for. You'll enter a quantity and then add to cart. And once you add it to your cart, scroll to the top of the page and you'll see the cart icon on the upper right of the screen. You'll click on that. That takes you to our checkout screen. Just to verify, these are all the trips you want to register for. You'll click checkout, and then it's going to take you to the payment screen. No, it's not advancing.
I'm letting people in, but
Sure, I'll admit from this side. All right. Sorry about the technical difficulties. This is what the payment screen looks like. You enter in your email, your payment details, and then you click checkout. Once you do that, you'll get an order confirmation. And then I will follow up with a more detailed confirmation, especially for those overnight trips. If you're only paying a deposit, I give you a breakdown of the remaining balance, due dates for those payments, and then anything else that is pertinent to the tours that you are registering for, it's going to be on that confirmation. So to know that you are on a tour, you want to receive 2 confirmations from us. One is automatic at the end when you check out online. The other is coming directly from me. And as long as you have those, you are on a tour. If you do not have either of those, please reach out to us. There may have been a hiccup somewhere along the way that we did not get you on that tour. All right, the cancellation policy, you are welcome to cancel a tour. We know things come up, especially when we're looking a year in advance. Maybe a birthday party or a graduation pops up on the tour date and you're no longer able to make it. As long as we have advance notice, the payment is refundable up until a point. So for any day tour, it's going to be a week prior to the tour. It's fully refundable. For any overnight tours, it's a breakdown. So as long as it is 61 plus days in advance, it's fully refundable. If it's between 60 to 45 days, it's going to be 75% refundable, 44 to 30 days, 50%, 29 to 14 days, 25% of what you paid, it will be refunded. Anything for 13 days or fewer is non-refundable.
like a stage show or a circus act.
It's like a circus act kind of is. All right, wait list. So our tours, they do sell out, especially some of the walking day tours. But if they're popular enough, we will run another tour. So you may join the wait list. If you see any tours sold out, just go online. It will give you an option to enter your email address, and that will automatically put you onto the wait list. If any spaces open up, we will reach out to you, let you know, give you the opportunity to register before we move down that list to refill a tour. All of the start locations are listed in our treasure map, the 2024 treasure map. Most of them start at the Spring Hill Suites by Marriott here on the Auraria campus. And for any bus tours, most overnights, and a few of the, mostly those. Walking tours are going to start within the neighborhood that you are touring, and then caravan tours may start in a different city, such as our Trinidad trip that we did last month. We started down there in Trinidad. All right, the itineraries, they're also listed for any overnight tour in the brochure. They're also listed online. For the itinerary online, you just have to scroll past the payment selection. So you'll see the details for the tour. It will say add to cart, and if you keep scrolling, you'll see the itinerary for those. We mail out the tour letters to folks for day tours a week in advance. And then we mail a overnight tour packet, which is going to have your itinerary, information related to the tour, maps, things like that. That will be a couple weeks out before the start of any tour. Of course, for any payments, you're going to get reminders from me. And that will be according to the schedules of the tour. All right, I'm going to turn this back over to Kevin. He's going to go over tour classifications, and then we'll jump into our lineup for next year.
All right. We go deeper, deeper, deeper. Tour classifications. Copper penny, it's more of the approachable pieces, 30 to 175. The marker is going to tell you which one it is. Silver Eagle all the way up to the gold doubloons. Some trips just require more. And this says there are things in the chat. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we partner with two folks. Dr. Andrew Gulliford, you see him there in the upper right. For those of you who haven't met him, fine fellow. He's written a whole bunch. He has truly an ambitious mustache. And he's just got lots to say, and he's a fun fellow to travel with. I'll be traveling with him next week. There's Jack in the lower right-hand corner there. You could not dampen his spirit if you had a 20-gallon dump truck of ice. That guy, he's just happy. And so we've scheduled some trips for years. He's already excited. He's already excited for all of them. So it's a good thing. Okay, tour difficulty. You may always ask me, do you think I can do this trip? Do you think I'll be able to do this part? I have designed many of them, Michael, all the rest. Between the two of us, we'll get you an answer. If you think it will be too much, too little, too fast, too furious, we'll let you know. You may ask us, don't be shy. You may also on certain tours bow out of parts. If you don't want to climb up this particular Mount Everest replica, you don't have to. You can bow out of that part. Easy, moderate, bold, challenging. Easy's going to be a little walking tour around town or just a 5-hour bus tour, that sort of thing. And you continue up. Some of these are challenging, not because they have a lot of physical activity, but because you're away from home for days, sometimes more than a week. And just the process of being gone and moving your suitcase here and there after a while can just get a little fatiguing for even the most veteran traveler. So challenging is not necessarily about the physicality of it. Sometimes it's also the duration. Although this year we are starting marathon tours, so that's going to be great fun. I'm joking, of course. Okay, so Roxanne, Jack is great, highly recommended. I don't really like trains that much, but let's see what Roxanne says. I learned to appreciate them during his talks. Yes, Jack makes even the most nuanced little thing fun. You know, you say, wow, how can you recognize that rail is different from that rail when we're speeding by at 80 miles an hour and you only saw 3 seconds of it? I don't know. I think his mother, when she was pregnant with him, she ate a lot of iron, you know, and it got into the amniotic fluid and he just became a train man. Anyway, group tours 2024. Cindy just came in. If you didn't see it back there, all those are back there for you to grab. Go ahead and grab one. All right, let's dive on in. These go in chronological order. because we are experimenting with the new date. Instead of November, we're doing it in May. The discount that was normally just a weekend is going to go into the middle of September. Some of these tours that you would be signing up for are really a year and a half away. And it would be unreasonable for you to have to plop down the money right now in 2 days, all right, or before Sunday. So we're going to experiment. And as with everything, this is a business where I would like your feedback. If this should be too long, too short, let us know, because we're going to be tweaking this. So let us know. Receive 10% off anything you sign up for between now and September 15th. And a distinction so that you catch it. If you only pay the deposit, you only get 10% off the deposit. If you pay in full, you get 10% off of everything. Obviously, money doesn't grow on trees, so do what you can, but that is how the 10% is going to apply. Whatever you spend before September 15th, that's where you get the discount. Obviously, payment in full, huzzah, huzzah. We will work with you on payment plans. If you want us to do it by month so you don't have to think about it, Michael is just that type of clever guy. He can do that. If I were given access to your bank account, you would soon be destitute, because I would give it to some Nigerian prince who's in prison without meaning to do so, right? So it's just as well he's in charge. Anything between now and September 15th, the discount is going to be applied automatically. So you don't have to say, I need this discount. It's going to go for anything between now and the 15th of September. Of 2024, yes, not next year. 2024 of this year. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start out. What? 2023, sorry. Oh, it does not include this year's tours. Thank you. Okay, it does not include this year's tours. That ship sailed. September of 2023. Michael corrected me and I thought I was saying it wrong. For the 2024 tours, the discount goes through September 15th, 2023. All right, let's dive in. So why are we doing a trip to Arizona in the winter? Well, that's the only time you should be in Arizona, first of all. But also, as of this year, we will have done the 3 seasons with the Starry Night program. We're going to be doing summer this year. We will have already done spring and fall. So I wanted to do a Starry Night program in the winter, but did I actually want to do a Starry Night program in Colorado in the winter? No. So this was partially because Andy said, you know, there are some great things to see here in Arizona, and I wanted to go somewhere warm so that we may do stargazing in as good of a weather as we're going to be able to get in the United States, barring Hawaii. And Hawaii, I'd love to take you there, but they are so punitive. You have to pay everything in advance when you make the reservations. And I'm not that big of a company yet. All right, so this is the meeting of the minds. Andy's going to be guiding this. I'm going to be along guiding it as well. So we're going to complement each other on that. But that is why we're going to Arizona in January. Now, for those of you on the Colorado River tour, the things that we're seeing on that tour are not what we're seeing on this tour. All right, so it's the same state for part of it, but it is not the same tour. So let's go through. And remember, if at any time you have questions, shout out. Flights this year, we've gotten a lot of feedback from folks, and we've had some thoughts on how we're going to do flights. We're going to try another experiment. This year, we included some, and we did not include some. And it's been kind of a rigmarole because this person has points, this person wants to stay longer, this person wants to come early. And for poor Michael, it's just, he's done it, but it's been a bit of a maze. So what we're going to try next year for 2024 is no flights are included, but if you want, we will get it for you. But you have to say, I will get, Michael, please get the flight. All right. That way, if you have points or if you want to go early or stay late, then you're good to go. But you have to tell us you would like the flight. So again, for 2024, this is an experiment. If you hate it, tell us, because then for 2025, which we're already starting on, we might modify it. So January 3rd, the year newly minted, we're going to fly down to Arizona. we're going to go see the state capitol building. It's okay. It's the only state capitol building, though, that has ornamentation at the top that moves with the wind. So it's kind of fun. All right, there's a statue at the top that actually moves with the wind. It's the only one. Welcome dinner, and then we head on out by bus to explore Arizona. So the first couple days, we're heading to southern Arizona. We're going to see in the Tucson area, the city itself. We're going to tour one of the local museums. The Sonoran Institute that is giving us our tour of the Colorado River in Mexico in June is the same company. And so we're going to get to see them twice, once this year, once next year. Tucson's a really cool city. I have to say, it's got some panache. So January 5th, we're going to go out and we're going to get some birding on, because Arizona is where all the birds who are intelligent go to hang out because it's not so cold. All right. The geese stay in Denver. That shows you how smart they are. There will be some walking, but not a lot. It is meant to be approachable. So we're going to come down to Sierra Vista, stay a couple nights, and we're going to get our birds on. This museum looks fun to me. I haven't been to it, though. The Military Intelligence Soldier Heritage Learning Center and Museum, with a built-in oxymoron right in the title, right? So this is going to be an amazing tour. I've looked at the website. I've looked at all of the displays. It looks a lot of fun. How has the military garnered the information that it's gotten over the years? How have they applied that? So it looks a fun tour. We're going to do a little more birding in the afternoon. Believe it or not, Andy had wanted to do birding for the entire trip. And I said, Andy, I like birds, but no. So the first part of the tour, and Roxanne says the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum is the best. I love it. So those 2 days, we're going to do some birds. We're going to get out and see some of the wild places in Arizona. The 7th, which is a Sunday, we just have to cover some distance. We are in southern Arizona. We have to get to northern Arizona. We're going to take the scenic route. It's one of those roads that you don't normally go because you're going where you're going as quickly as possible. But there's this beautiful scenic drive that sort of comes through the middle, the eastern side of the middle of Arizona, and it's beautiful. And that will get us to where we need to be, which is the city of Winslow, where, yes, we are staying at La Posada, the Harvey House there. And we're going to be there for 2 nights so that we're going to get the full fun of it. We'll get to have a tour of the place. For those of you who haven't been, it's beautiful. It's well worth a visit. So right there, you've got some history. We're going to talk all about the Harvey houses. The next day, this is where I insisted. So we're going to go to Meteor Crater. You know, I've never been. I've been all around. I've never been. Michael has been. He did a research trip. I've never been. I just never did it. Then we're going to the Lowell Observatory. Folks, for those of you who have been on any of the dark sky programs or were there online when we did our dark skies presentation, that's where it started. Back in the 1960s, the concept of preserving your dark skies began and was first promulgated in Flagstaff. And the city of Flagstaff is wholly behind this. So what we're going to do is have daytime programs there to tour the museum, learn all about it, but we're not staying there to see the stars. I actually found a company that they referred me to that will take you out. Lowell Observatory Flagstaff Stargazing. It's not actually listed in there, but we're going to do a tour with this company. We're going to go out near the Grand Canyon, not that near the Grand Canyon. And we're going to go out. There's going to be hot chocolate, and we're going to look at the stars out in the middle of the desert. So I found a company. They were recommended by these folks. It looks great. So we're going to go out and get our wintertime stars. So Monday, January 8th is going to be all about space and things from space. The one meteor that came and joined us. Okay, Tuesday morning, the 9th in Winslow, we're going to give you a little free time to enjoy the city, relax at the hotel, because the night before we kept you up really, really late. All right, so we're not going to get you up super early because you're going to be getting in that night late. All right, We have lunch and then head to Phoenix the next day. These are some choices from Andy. Andy actually said, I want to do these. So the Musical Instrument Museum apparently is amazing. The Heard Museum, another one I haven't been to. We're going to see. Then we're going to have the overnight there in Phoenix and come back on the 11th. So Andy's going to be the main content person for a lot of it. I will be for half of it. We'll get away from the super cold of Colorado perhaps for a little while. The lower left-hand side, you see the picture of our fellow who's going to be our birding expert. These other pictures, Michael took a trip to Arizona to research something, to research parts of the Colorado River Tour that's coming up soon. We needed to see some access pieces. And while he was there, he took some pictures. So these are all things we're going to see: the Posada, the Lowell Observatory, and Meteor Crater. So it's going to be an amazing trip. You're going to start it off well. It's going to be a great year. Okay. Who knew back in 2005, when we wrote the tour for Colfax, that I would have so many road tours? But now I think I have about 8 to 10, I forget. And so why not? Let's just keep going. As long as I have interesting roads to see, let's go find them. So Baseline Road, we're going to do Baseline Road. It's just going to be a basic 5-hour tour. This would be considered very easy. The bulk of the expense here is the bus. Buses cost more than an organ transplant. They are very expensive. So that's the main bulk of the cost here, the bus. But we're going to go explore Baseline Road. We're going to go all the way from Boulder to Brighton. And along the way, there's actually a lot of history. As with all of these tours, we don't just drive straight through without stopping. There are things nearby that are interesting. And we're going to get off the road so that I may talk about some of those things. So Baseline Road, that former border, we're going to give it a go. Okay, now, Michael, you wouldn't know it to look at him, but he loves sweets. One day he will actually have no teeth in his head. Yeah, he probably will be 5 feet wide, but he's going to be happy. So there are a lot of places in Denver that specialize in sweets. So we're going to tour places for your sugar fix, all the way from the behind the scenes tour at the Little Man Ice Cream to some candy places and chocolate places. Don't worry, because I can see Kathy's already saying, I'm going to puke just hearing it, right? Don't worry. In the middle, you get lunch. You actually get to eat real food, all right? Because if it were all sugar, we'd need a vomitorium, right? So I actually shouldn't say vomitorium when I'm talking about a food tour, should I? Anyway, just delete that part. So it's just a day for sugar, a day for sweets. I love food, so this is going to be a great day. All right, I don't like chocolate. Well, actually, I can tolerate chocolate, but it's not my thing. There's a mystery afoot. Notice the date, February 29th. Now, this year we did it last month. It was great for some people. It was an experiment. It was our first time doing it. I think some people did not like the format. So the format is, for those of you who haven't done it before, you're going to be on the bus. You're going to be put into little teams, and you are going to solve little puzzles on your way to solving a larger puzzle. This year, we had to capture Count Colfax, who had stolen the keys to the city and was going to pave it over with ubiquitous skyscrapers. I can't tell you how wonderful it was to capture Count Colfax, although none of us could stand how he smelled. Oh, that guy was nauseatingly disgusting, putrid, horrid man. If you ever were to meet him, you would just say, wow, his mother should have, I don't know, yeah, should have dropped him off at the pig farm or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, Count Colfax, don't worry, you're never going to meet him. So it's going to be an experiment, but it's going to be for fun. So join us for There's a Mystery Afoot, February 29th. I did have a good time too. All right, so this is a Boulder Museum sampler. We do some of these every now and then. We are going to be, Roxanne says, let everyone know that we're in it whenever possible. You arrange that a person gets a window seat and can put their junk in the other seat. It is often different from other trips that are road trips where they park you like sardines in a bus. That's right, I don't like sardines in a bus. So we're going to go see two museums in Boulder, the History Museum and the Art Museum, and they're going to give us tours. Just by itself, the tours that we're going to get are long enough, it's going to take the whole day. So this Boulder Museum sampler, we're going to get you up there and we're going to show you these two museums. It's going to be a really fun day. Boulder has a lot of history, but everyone assumes it's at the campus. That's the only history. You go to Old Main there and you get your college campus history, but there's actually history for the city of Boulder. And then of course it's Boulder, which means they have some really riveting art. All right, onward and upward. All right, my mother-in-law lives about half a mile from Loretto Heights. She tries not to go by the campus right now because it makes her cry. So the Loretto Heights campus today is in the process of being altered. Some would say gutted, but it is in the process of being altered. So in the same way Stapleton Airport became a new downtown, the same way Lowry became a new downtown, well, this is the same thing that's happening at Loretto Heights. You see in the picture here how they've removed a lot of the trees and let the grass just be ripped up and such. So it's disheartening to see, but in the future, Southwest Denver is going to get a new downtown, this little power center type thing. So we're going to take a walk. I'm going to show you what's left, which is not a lot, and going to talk about what's coming. So the construction will not be done by that time. So we're going to see some things still in progress there on the Loretto Heights campus. Okay, now those of you who've traveled with me before know that there really is nothing dearer to my heart than eating. As I always say, it is just as well I'm not in charge of the United States as president, because I would give away any state secret for food. So this is an ongoing tour. Let's go gastronomy. But I have to tell you, because I can already see it in your eyes, yes, we're going to go to Casa Bonita. That's right. Yes, we're going to do it. We're going to do a Colfax tour. It's not just going to be Casa Bonita. I'm thinking at Casa Bonita, we're probably going to, well, I should say, we're definitely going to eat there. What we're going to eat there will depend on how the food is, because they still haven't opened yet. If the food will remain the same, we're just going to get the sopapillas. But if they actually upgrade the food, then we'll get something else. But we're going to have multiple stops along Colfax. So this is going to be our Colfax food tour. Casa Bonita will be part of it. Don't worry. And Casa Bonita is great. And along the way, I will tell you all about the history of Casa Bonita for those of you who did not get that presentation. So it's a Colfax tour. And oh, it is a bus tour. That's right. For the last 2 years, we've done it walking. And that's great. Huzzah. But walking does limit where you may go. It has to have enough density. Since Casa Bonita is reopening, I thought really we have to. I mean, it's an icon. But there's not enough there to justify a walking tour. So we're going to do a bus tour. So it is more expensive this year because we have to get the bus. So all the food and drink, all that's included. This year we're doing the bus. So our hope is to go back and forth and do some with bus and some without. Okay, Quadrant Quest, Southeast. This year we're doing Northeast. It's just going to march around the calendar, not the calendar, the compass. We're going to march around the compass rose. Next year is going to be Southeast. Here you see the statue from behind of Wynken, Blynken, and Nod at Washington Park. Super cute story. Some of the things you're going to know maybe, but there are going to be plenty of things that you don't. So this is just going to be a regular bus tour. We're going to explore what is Southeast Denver. All right, what next? Okay, so this is a Michael tour. I'm probably going to go on it because it does involve food, but Michael actually built this one. So I'm going to let Michael talk about it. We sort of divide and conquer.
I also like food. So this will be a fun tour. We're going to take you up to Larimer County, so northern Colorado. We're going to visit the Morning Fresh Dairy, which is in Bellevue, and that is the dairy farm that supplies all of the dairy for Noosa yogurt. So you'll also be able to see Noosa yogurt being produced. You'll get samples of that. We'll tour the dairy farm. And then we're going to have a farm to table experience in Fort Collins at Jessup Farm. And so you'll get some farm to table food after touring Scary Farm. And then this is a little bit longer because we have to drive all the way up to the Fort Collins area and then drive back. And when we are driving back, there will 100% be a chance of traffic. So this is a bus tour, yes. So bus tour from Denver all the way up, but we will get some yogurt and delicious farm to table food.
Food. Okay, so I've been flirting with this for years, and Michael's finally sort of forced me to do it. So most of you probably know that I'm really a clinically wacko kind of guy, and starting one business was not enough. If you read the newsletter for May, you heard the story of my adventures, right down to jumping that car for 2 weeks. Anyway, I have two businesses because one was not enough. I have the Capitol Collection souvenir passport to the state Capitol buildings. Now, some of you I know already have your copy of it. What we're going to do next year is we're going to go tour 2 state capitals. For those of you who don't have your book, you'll get a copy of the book as part of your tour. And we're going to go get tours and you're going to get your stamps. And if people like this, my premise is that I will divide the rest of the country into blocks, and we will together do a capital trip each year until we've seen them all. And that will include Hawaii and Alaska because it's part of the 50, right? So next year's kind of the test. I sort of think people are going to say, well, why? I can do those myself, but there will be some parts that I'm getting the tour, we're getting some access, you're getting the book. So it's kind of a, we'll see who shows up and if it really should justify doing something more. If we do this one, my thought is we will probably start with doing, because it's a nice, super easy circle, a circle around the southern United States. Those capitals are in a nice circle, very easy to do. So if we do this one successfully, then we'll do the rest of the capitals in a bunch, and eventually you will have seen them all. And eventually you will be able to say, Kevin, I completely agree with you on which one is the best capital. It's not Colorado. Anyway, silence. Susie's giving things away. Okay, sorry, I don't want to prejudice anyone. I'm perfectly happy to talk about which one's the worst, but that's not till we're done. Okay, sports ball, here comes Michael.
Sports ball. So Kevin is not the biggest fan of sports, but I don't mind them. And I thought it would be fun to explore some of the history and behind the scenes of sports happening here in Colorado. So I'm arranging for a behind the scenes tour of Coors Field. It will be dependent on their schedule next year. So I have backup plans for a behind the scenes at Mile High and a behind the scenes at Dick's Sporting Goods Park Field. That's how you say it. So regardless, we will see a major sports team and their facilities behind the scenes. And then we will visit the baseball museum, and we'll also do a small tour just here in Denver to visit some of the previous sites of fields or stadiums. So we'll learn all about sports here in Colorado.
So sports ball. Okay, that does sound fun for Michael to lead. Okay, so yes, Joe. Are we going to not to the curling facility? Actually, I would go to a curling facility. Curling is the most riveting sport, closely followed by luge. Is it what? No, it's multiple sports. In addition, so Coors Field is the one we're probably going to go into. Failing that, we have other stadiums we may tour, but the tour is going to focus on all of the history of sports in the metro area. We're going to talk about some stadiums that have been lost, baseball, football. And so it's a full coverage of sports, not just football. Okay, so last year we did the Arkansas River, which was amazing. This year we're doing the Colorado River, which is going to be amazing. And next year we're doing the Platte, the South Platte. So this is going to be in May of next year, and it is a bus tour. It's a bus tour with a couple of weird tweaks. March? May of next year, sorry, May of next year. Apparently I'm on low blood sugar or something. Okay, Marilyn has too much sugar. Okay, between the two of us, we make a real person. All right, so let's go through this. This one is weird. We've never done this before. We've never started a tour and ended up back in Denver for the first night. So notice, the very first night, we're back. What are we doing? Well, the first day, we're going up into the mountains to trace where the various parts of the South Platte River start. So there's the North Fork of the South Platte River, the Middle Fork of the South Platte River, and the South Fork of the South Platte River. So those are up in the Fairplay area and around there. So we're going to go find those. But we're going to end up coming back to Denver. So that first night, there's no hotel stay because you're in Denver. Now, you may, if you want, because we are leaving again the next morning, you may always stay at the hotel. So, I mean, that's absolutely fine. But if you don't want to, you just go home. So it's the first time we've done this, but that's why, because we end up in Denver. So, yes. So on that day, you're going to come with your picnic lunch. Yes. The next day is when we begin in earnest. And what we're going to do is head north to the North Park area so that we may explore the North Fork of the river as well. I actually was not sure. I thought, well, I'm only going to do the South Platte, right? But then I thought, well, no, the North Platte starts in Colorado too. Just because people don't really think about it much doesn't mean I shouldn't include it. So I decided I'd put the North Platte in there. So on the 5th, we're going to go up and explore North Park and where the river comes in. We're going to stay at this really cool place in Saratoga, which is right by the river. It's this kind of camp, but don't worry, you're not going to have to camp. They've got little cabins and things. We're going to stay right by the river. The North Platte at this point, of course, is this little thing. Then from there, we're going to head north. We're going to go through some really wild places, empty places in Wyoming, which I know is redundant, but the Seminole Reservoir, Seminole Sand Dunes, all that stuff on Monday, May 6th, you're really sort of far out in the middle of nowhere. But we're going to be able to see how the river is made to work in Wyoming, how they draw the water off, how they have dams put up, how even there in Wyoming, they're using the river for agricultural purposes. We come around to Casper, then we come to see some of the historic sites that might be more familiar to you, Fort Fetterman, Glendo State Park, which is where I watched the eclipse in 2017. And Register Cliff, we've already done that before, but for those of you who haven't been, it's kind of fun. It's right there by the river. It's one of those icons by the river as folks were traveling, and they left their marks there. On the 8th, we come into Nebraska. This tour, we are seeing only a few states because the Platte only is in a few states. And I guess Roxanne has been to the grocery store in Saratoga. Stuffed animals, stuffed animals in the grocery store. Okay, thank you. I guess I'll have to do that on the research trip. So we come into Nebraska, Riverside Park in Scotts Bluff. We've done Scotts Bluff before on future visits, but we did not go down to see their riverfront park. The same way they did that wonderful riverfront park there in Tulsa, they have turned the area there in Scotts Bluff along the river into this really great place to interact with the river. Chimney Rock and on to North Platte. North Platte is where the two Plattes come together, and at this point, it's just the Platte. We're gonna march along the river. We're gonna see some nature. We're gonna see some history before finally we end up over where it disappears in the Missouri River. We're gonna see some of the prairie, but here on the 10th, the River Life Airboat Tour. We're gonna get out on the river. We weren't really able to do that with the Arkansas River tour. We are going to do it with the Colorado River tour. So I found a way to get us onto the water on the Platte. So while we're out in Nebraska, we're going to get out onto the water and have a little bit of a tour. And then sadly, it's time to come back after seeing where the Platte disappears into the Missouri River. We're going to make our journey back. We're going to visit Kearney and then come on back to Colorado. Now you're going to notice that in the end, we don't really see a lot of the South Platte in Colorado. We've done it all, bit at a time. So I wanted to focus on things that we haven't seen before. So that's why I spend more time on the North Platte and some of the pieces in Nebraska that we haven't seen before. And remember, if you have any questions at any point, shout out. We'll go from there. As always, there's just too much to see. Okay, the Critters of Colorado. So this is a Michael tour, so I'll hand it over to him.
All right, so this would be a fun tour. I love animals. Who doesn't love animals? So I thought we would explore animals here, not just in the state, but in the city. And so we will take some behind the scenes tours at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science and explore their dead animal collection. Just the easy way to say it, but all the taxidermied animals from all over the world, but we'll focus in on Colorado, what used to be here, the skull of the last grizzly bear, for example. And then we will have some behind the scenes tours at the Denver Zoo. And they're working with me to offer up something a little different than what just regular members at the zoo can get. So we'll have a nice little presentation and behind the scenes there at the zoo. And then, I believe Kevin knows this, but we will walk around City Park and learn about the beginnings of the Denver Zoo and the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. So 3 sort of mini tours all in one. Denver Museum of Nature and Science, Denver Zoo, and City Park itself. And Kevin will be leading the City Park tour portion. He has done that before.
That's true. So it'll be a lot of animal love. I don't know, maybe I'll bring a dog or something so you can get lovin's too. South Dakota Rails and Wonders. Remember earlier I told you that Jack was already frothing? All right, this was one of his suggestions. There, he's a foamer, that's right. So there are 2 trains in Wyoming, or not Wyoming, South Dakota, excuse me. There are 2 trains in South Dakota and we're going to go see them. Now we have toured South Dakota in the past, but we're gonna see different things on this tour. It's a big state. And on previous tours, all we did was see the southwestern corner. So we're gonna try to cover more of it. Good old South Dakota. So we drive. Sadly, the first day is really nothing but driving. In Valentine, Nebraska, that's just south of the border. I believe we're going to be able to stay in South Dakota. There is a hotel there on the reservation, but it's too far in advance for them to be able to say yes. So for default, we're going to stay in Valentine. When the time comes and they say yes or no, then we'll be able to stay in South Dakota. That's my hope, but we're not certain yet. Okay, we come into South Dakota. The Dignity statue is a recommendation from Jack. It's a really cool thing. It's got some wonderful stories attached to it. And I've never done this one before, the South Dakota Hall of Fame. Now, some of the names you're probably gonna know, but a lot of the folks you're gonna be scratching your head, who is this person? But you're gonna find out what they've done for South Dakota. Then of course, we're gonna go to the Corn Palace because you must go to the Corn Palace. I mean, it's the best. And then we're gonna go to the city that I adore, Sioux Falls. I did a whole Sioux tour one year as just a tourist. Sioux Falls, Sioux Center, South Sioux Center, South Sioux City, all of it. I did it all, it was great. It's a Sioux tour. Sioux Falls is a totally amazing city, and yet people go, what, Sioux Falls? So we're gonna stay there 2 nights because I have a whole day set aside just for the fun of Sioux Falls. Trust me. It's great. The waterfall that you see behind this picture, that series of waterfalls, that is Sioux Falls. And it's a lot of fun. From there, we're going to go north. We're going to get our little house on the prairie on there in De Smet. We are going to see a train on the east side of South Dakota at the Prairie Village. The Prairie Village train is not going to be anything like the Cumbres and Toltec, or the Durango Silverton. The area is this flat, and the train is going to go around a little bit like the one at Lakeside, all right? Except it's not a little kiddie train, it's a big train, but it really does not cover a lot of distance. But here's the thing, Jack is going to make you so excited by telling you the history and the nuances and the details and why this engine shouldn't be with this coal car. And I mean, all these things, right? That you're just going to be a foamer by proxy, all right? All right, so we're gonna ride the train there. And then on Sunday the 16th, here's the part that I'm actually weirdly looking forward to the most, the International Vinegar Museum. Who's been there, right? I like vinegar on a salad or whatever, but a whole museum. And the guy actually said, no one thinks I could open a whole museum just on vinegar. And he says people love it. I've been to the Mustard Museum, so why not the Vinegar Museum? So we're going to give it a go. Then we're going to come over to the capital, which is Pierre. That's right. We have to learn how to say it, Pierre. And we're going to stay in Pierre, see the capital of South Dakota. There is a lake right next to it, which has such a high gas content, natural gas content coming up from the earth. It's not a failed oil well or anything like that, that the lake can actually be lit. Isn't that amazing? Don't worry, they're not gonna do it while we're there, all right? Okay, so don't worry, we're not gonna set the place alight. We're gonna see some fun things in Pierre, and then our goal is to go to Badlands, all right? So we are going to be in the Badlands all day on the 18th, and just get to see it all. For those of you who haven't done the Badlands, it's one of those landscapes that takes some appreciation, but you have to get in it to see it. Then we drive over to the Black Hills. Now, this is the only part that's going to be something we've done before. It's the lodge. We're going to do the lodge there in the Black Hills, just our lodging, that's it. The reason we're in the Black Hills area is because we're going to do the 1880 train in Hill City. Now, this one is a mountain train. It does go up into the hills and such. And so that one's going to be more akin to what you would recognize as a train here in Colorado. So we'll have our farewell dinner there. The next day, we're going to go to Wind Cave National Park, which will be super duper fun. It's beautiful above, it's beautiful below, and that'll be on the way back to Denver. So there you have South Dakota. Now you might be saying, but there are whole sections of the state that you've missed. The very northeast corner, for example, there were beautiful things that I would have wanted to have shown you. Seriously, just too much. Now we've done the sort of west side, so we're not going back to Belle Fourche, that sort of thing. There's just too much to see. But South Dakota, you'll get your Sioux on, you'll get to see some trains. Okay, the N line opened in 2020, I believe it was, but we have not yet done a tour of the N line. So this is going to be a walking and riding train. We're going to ride the heavy commuter rail from Union Station up to see the various stations of the N line. It goes up to the East Lake area of Thornton. This one includes lunch because at the East Lake station, how many restaurants are there? Would any of you like to guess? No, not at East Lake, one. Yeah, East Lake, one. So I could turn you loose, but you'd all end up going to the same restaurant anyway, right? So since we're all going to go to the same restaurant, we're just going to go together. So the meal is included in the tour. And we're just going to look at each station, talk about development, talk about the neighborhood, talk about the history, talk about the art. So the N line eventually will go farther. But for now, we're going to see what we get to see. Of course, the main station, the stock show, we're going to see it all. Okay, Northwest Colorado journeys. So Andy said, I want to go back to Northwestern Colorado, and we're going to go back. Michael's on this one, so.
Yeah, each year, Kevin and I split up Andy, and I'll take one tour, he takes the other tour. We literally split him in half. You'll get the left side, I'll get the right side. So it'll be great. All right, so Northwest Colorado, this is a really fun tour, and Andy just recently released his book on sheep herding history here in Colorado and in Utah, just out in the West. And so we're going to learn a lot about sheep herding up in Northwest Colorado. We will go from Denver up to Craig. We'll stay or stop in Steamboat for lunch, but we're going to keep pushing out northwest. And so our goal for that day is actually to get into Craig. We're going to see the Marcia car, which is from the previous photo, David Moffat's private train car. We'll learn all about the train that he was building up into that area and his legacy. We'll visit the Wyman Museum and then just spend the night there in Craig. The next day, we'll visit a couple museums there. New museum to us will be the Colorado Northwestern Field Museum. And so we'll learn about some fossil history and what they're doing with archaeology and paleontology from that museum. And then we're going to make our way down into Meeker, visit the White River Museum, and then stay at the Meeker Hotel, which is this the Meeker Inn, very nice historic hotel right in the center of Meeker. And if you didn't hear Kevin's little woo, it is a really fun place to stay. Then we're going to learn about the Meeker Massacre site the following day, making our way out towards Rangeley. And then we're going to stay the night in Utah. We're going to be going up to Dinosaur National Monument. So we'll spend some time in Vernal. We'll go to the Utah Fieldhouse Natural History State Park Museum. That is the full title of their museum. It's lovely. But it is a really awesome place to kind of dip our toes into all the dinosaurs and fossils. And then the following day, we're actually going to go into Dinosaur National Monument, go to the quarry where you can see all of the exposed fossils there on the side. And then we're going to drive south from the Dinosaur Colorado area to Fruta, and that's Canyon Pintado. We're going to learn about some of the petroglyphs and fossils that they have found on that highway. It is a scenic byway, and so we will learn everything that there is to know about that. And then before we return home on the final day, we will visit the Dinosaur Journey Museum in Fruta. So sheep and dinosaurs. And if you've seen the movie Jurassic Park, it was a goat, but you know what happens with sheep and dinosaurs or that type of animal. But it'll be a fun time.
Okay. Cindy knows what I'm talking about here. We're going to go to the Kit Carson County Fair. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself. Here's why you need to go on this tour. All right. On that Thursday, the Kit Carson County Fair on that Thursday always has its free barbecue. They have watermelon too, but the free barbecue. All right. How do they prepare so much barbecue? Well, they mix the meat with the barbecue sauce in the back of pickup trucks, men and women standing there in hip waders with pitchforks, stirring the meat and barbecue in the back of the pickup truck. The first time I saw it, I was absolutely agog. I thought, please tell me you washed all of those things, especially the pitchfork. What have you been cleaning with those pitchforks and such? And then I thought to myself, well, maybe the acid in the barbecue sauce is cleaning. But in the end, I just said, I'm just not going to think about it. You know, don't let that turn you off. It's so much fun. You go up, you see sanctioned child abuse, which is always, oh, I'm sorry, it's button busting. That's right. Yes, you see all kinds of wonderful things at the fair. It is so much fun. The Kit Carson County Fair, while we're there, we're going to do the carousel, which is still just a quarter. Even after all these years, it's still just a quarter. From there, we're going to add another day because I want to show you, it's been years, but I want to show you the art in Sterling. So we're going to come up, we're going to see Beecher Island and other sites for the Native Americans and reservoir history and all that on the east before we end up in Sterling. And we're going to go see the art. In Sterling, they have decided to turn dead trees into art. And so you will be able to see some of the amazing art People don't stop in Sterling. They're on their way wherever. But Sterling has amazing, wonderful stuff. Also not for me, but they also have a historic ice cream place. So we'll get you some ice cream too while we're there. So I decided ABCs, art, barbecue, carousel. So come get your ABCs on. Don't worry about the meat and where they make it. It's going to be delicious. You're going to love it. It's an overnight, just an overnight, but I have packed so much fun in here. It's going to be an overnight to remember. They do have homemade pies, and that's where I usually go nuts. Okay, the carousel has museum quality hand-carved animals, a life-like experience to ride. It really is wonderful. I took my family out there last year. We had a great time. Science in the Springs. All right, I'm going to be going on this one, but Michael's leading it.
Yes, and I'm leading it because Colorado Springs is my hometown. So for this one, we're gonna dive into the science that is down there, and it is another museum sampler. So similar to our Boulder Museum sampler. For this one, we will go to the Maine Natural History Museum, the Insect Museum that is just south of Colorado Springs on your way to Canyon City. Then we're gonna visit the Space Foundation, which is what you see here, which is near Garden of the Gods. We'll learn all about space. And then we're going to visit the Fire Museum that is there in Colorado Springs. We'll learn about firefighting history and the sciences that go into fighting fires. So you may have seen that in the news with all of these electric vehicles blowing up on the highway, this or that. And the fire crews are not equipped to put out those fires. And so new technologies have to be developed with new technologies. So we're going to learn all about the science down in that area. Bugs, space, and fire.
All right. That sounds fun. Except for the fire blowing up cars. That sounds fun. Okay, so Joe, Marilyn, some other folks, we're going to be going on this tour, the Coast Starlight. But there was a forest fire in Oregon and it torched a train trestle. No train trestle, no train. So the trip was canceled. And I had done the entire research trip. I went and explored. I did not ride the train because Jack vouched for it, but all the places I went and explored and had a good time. So it's all done. The work's done. The research has been done. So this will be a Kevin and Jack tour to ride the Coast Starlight, hoping that no forest fire burns down a train trestle. All right, so this will be August, which is what it was going to be when we were going to run it previously, from Los Angeles, or we will meet in Los Angeles. We'll have our welcome dinner there. The next day, we'll go to Union Station, Los Angeles style, and Jack will give us a tour, and we will ride the commuter train. It's still the Coast Starlight, but it is considered kind of a commuter train because you get where you're going that day. We're going to end up in San Jose that evening, but you're going to have the gorgeous views along the coast. As you make your way up California, the coast, you're going to have all these wonderful, sumptuous views off toward the coast, which is why it's called the Coast Starlight. We get to San Jose. Now, once we reach San Jose, we're going to be there for several nights. So that'll be nice because we won't have to move. We're going to be in a wonderful hotel right downtown. That's where I stayed when I was doing the research trip. It's connected to everything. It's about this far from the train station, so it's really close to everything. I just got back from going to Napa Valley, the Napa Valley. Ralph Maligio, who travels with us sometimes, who's a friend of Pat and Ed Martin, he had some free hot air balloon coupons because they keep landing on his land. They keep landing on his lawn, right? So they gave him these free hot air balloon coupons. Basically, please don't sue us. And I think Ralph's probably on here. Hi, Ralph. Anyway, so I went out to the Napa Valley my first time. So that was a great time. Ralph showed us all around. It was beautiful. I have to say the flowers would knock your socks off. Whew, it was amazing. So on Saturday the 10th, we're going to go to the wineries of the Napa Valley. We're going to do 2 of them. Now, of course, you're saying, but Kevin, you're in San Jose. We're going to get a bus. So we're going to ride the bus up. We're going to do 2 wineries. We're going to have lunch, and then we're going to come back. Now, some of you I know are teetotalers as I am. Don't worry. The wineries are beautiful. They're gorgeous. All right. So even if you don't drink alcoholic drink number one, it's going to be an amazing day. And the Napa Valley is just beautiful. So that day, even though you have to bus there and bus back, it's going to be breathtaking. Sunday, the 11th, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. We're going to take the little local train, the bullet train to San Francisco. Now, here's where we're giving you a little bit of free time. Over the years, we have gotten a lot of feedback that people do like to have some free time embedded in the tour. They want downtime or they want to shop or whatever it is. So San Francisco is going to be our free time. You're going to be able to do whatever you like that day, or you may join me for my traditional San Francisco activity, which is walking across the Golden Gate Bridge and back. I do that every time I go. It is resplendently wonderful. I will also be riding the cable car. I know all the good restaurants to go to. We're going to go to the Musée Mécanique. We're going to go to the Sutro Baths. It's going to be amazing. So if you want to join me, you may. But if you don't want to, you may go do your San Francisco day. And then we'll come back to San Jose. It's going to be wonderful. On the 12th, we're going to go see the Winchester Mystery Mansion because it's in San Jose and it's worth a go, at least once in your life. All right, you need to go because it's such a weird story. After dinner, we're going to get on the Coast Starlight, and here's where we upgrade. The ride from Los Angeles to San Jose, it's a commuter train. You're just sitting there in a regular upright seat, but this isn't overnight. No sitting upright overnight. No. So we are getting the full bedrooms with the private bath and everything. We are going the top level, all right? There is not a topper level for us on this train, all right? So we're going to have the full style, and Jack is so excited. He's got so many things to tell us. The only bad part about this is we pass by Mount Shasta in the middle of the night. Libby is saying things, which I'm not going to repeat. Okay, then we get to Portland, wonderful Portland, Oregon. We are going no farther north. In Portland, we're going to have another hotel right in downtown. I believe it's the Benson, which is beautiful. We're going to be in the heart of everything. On our final full day together, we're going to go to Salem. Now notice it says Salem Exploration. It does not say Salem Capitol. The Capitol is closed until 25 or 6 for a renovation. So it's our bad luck, but it's okay. When we do our Capitol visits to the Northwest, we'll be able to go. But the real goal is to get out to the beach. What I'd like to do on our final night is have our farewell dinner by the sea, by the ocean, and watch the sunset over the ocean there on the Pacific. So I chose the little cute city of Newport. It's really charming. It is where the longest road in the United States starts on the West Coast before it goes all the way to Boston. There's this really fun sign. When you drive out of Newport, it says, blah, blah city, 10 miles, blah, blah city, 15 miles. Boston, 4,368 miles or whatever it says. Seriously, I've seen it. So one of these days, I want to drive that. I want to drive from one to the other. Anyway, and then we come back. This is one of those tours where we're probably going to have people say, well, I want to stay early or come earlier. I want to stay late, that sort of thing. So this is why we're experimenting with the flight manner this year. All right, the Coast Starlight. You're going to get a whole lot of Jack love on that trip. Okay. There are no aliens at the airport. There are no lizard men. There are no secret underground bunkers. Battlestar Galactica does not dock there, but there is one thing it does have: art. Now, I have to tell you, because I know you're going to ask, no, we are not going to get to see the Mustang. Because of truly breathtaking stupidity, they located the Mustang in an area where, if you walk up to it, you are committing a federal crime and will be sent to prison. A federal prison. That's even worse. Is it better? Okay. Bernice says it's better. I don't know. It just sounds worse, but Bernice would know because she was the lawyer. Okay, what we're out there to do is the art. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a tour from the folks at the museum, not at the museum, at the airport, who work with the art. This is property that belongs to Denver. It is run by the city of Denver. The airport is operated by the city of Denver. So these employees are part of the overall art in public places. Thank you. They are part of the same paradigm that you need to put art in public places. All civic buildings are supposed to have some public art. And this is a big one. 1% of the budget of any project in excess of, what is it, 75,000 or something like that, has to go for public art. There's a lot. And there's so much art that it has led to all these weird conspiracy theories, which of course is helped by the wonderful blue horse. Now, the best part of this tour is you're going to learn what the artist, Mr. Jimenez, actually meant with the horse. Now, I've told some of you, but for those of you who don't know, even though you won't get to see it, you'll get to learn all about it. So this is a DIA art tour. You wouldn't think there's enough there to see. There absolutely is. And they are going to give us the tour. So we're going to get access to the entirety of the airport. And this is a bus tour. Yes, we're going to take you out there and take you back again. Okay, now, even though everyone at home is muted, and so I cannot hear them, I can just tell that Pat Martin is at home right now, just giggling with glee, because she is the one who suggested this. And of course, as soon as I saw it, she sent me this newspaper article. My salivary glands went into overdrive. As part of the trip to Europe we did in 2019, I learned about this wonderful thing called a raclette. I feel such sadness for those who cannot eat cheese. You know, that's just so sad because you never get to eat a raclette. Each bite takes at least a month off your life, all right? But it's so good. It's so good. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's an overnight, but it's going to be an orgiastic overnight of cheese, all right? And I say that sincerely. All of the meals are included on this one. So it's an overnight, but prepare yourself. Don't eat for the week prior. We're going to go to Vail. We're going to have a raclette lunch. We're going to see the Betty Ford Alpine Gardens, because if we just ate again immediately, you'd be ill. But we have to get out and see some things. Then we're going to have dessert and coffee, little pastries, because we haven't eaten in, I don't know, 3 hours. So we need to eat again. All right. And then we're going to check into our hotel there in Vail before we have our raclette dinner. All right. So we have raclette for lunch and raclette for dinner. And you can moderate. So you're going to be fine. So we have raclette for lunch and for dinner. I'm already hungry. Okay. Then the next day, we're going to go to Longmont and visit the cheese importers. We're going to have a group lunch. Then we're going to have a picnic in the park. We're going to have dessert with chocolates and fruits and cheeses and all that sort of stuff. There are going to be some other cheese-related things in there. There is a raclette place in Denver. They will not take groups. So I thought about just showing up, but they said, "What are you doing?" And I described what we're doing, and they said, no. We cannot handle you. We cannot accommodate you. So there is a raclette place right here, but ultimately they said no. So we're going to do Longmont. This is a tour where you bring a cooler, because when we go to the cheese importers in Longmont, you have your cooler with all of your ice packs. You buy all your cheeses and butters and all these other wonderful things. You come home and your friends and neighbors and honey bunnies love you even more. Yes. The cheese room at the cheese importers, they do have parkas there for you, but if you bring, they got rid of them? They got rid of the parkas? That damn COVID. Okay, you have to bring your own cold weather gear, because when you go into the refrigerator, it is a walk-in refrigerator. I've done it before, it's worth it. The thing is probably, this front area of the room, it's probably half of this front area that's filled with yummy. I always spend a lot of money there. So ladies and gentlemen, La Forêt du Fromage. It could be snowy in Vail. We'll need to eat more cheese. So So yes, it is in Longmont, different from where, but it's different from where Michael's going. It's different from where Michael's going on his tour, but it's the one right downtown by the train tracks. It's at like, I think it's First and Main or so. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this one I've been preparing for. Okay, so I need to point your attention to the price. $8,250 per reservation. Does not include plane. Okay, so when Michael, Sean, and I sat down and designed the prices here, we budgeted everything out, and that night I had difficulty sleeping because this price just startled me. So the next morning we talked it out, and so I think what we need to do is explain why it costs that much. So we're going to Korea and Japan. I had planned to do this in 2020 through History Colorado. Of course, you know what happened to that. We were going to see 4 sister cities, 1 in Korea and 3 in Japan. In the summer of 2019, I went to visit all 4 sister cities. 2 of the sister cities I did visit, but they told me to my face, we're not going to work with you in any capacity. We're not going to welcome you. We're not going to help you find a hotel. You can come visit. We're not going to engage with you in any way. All right. So I said, okay, I guess there it is. So one of them in Japan has this amazing Buddhist shrine that just climbs up the mountainside. And the other one, the one in Korea, it's no different from going to a suburb. You would really not know that you weren't in a suburb. It looks exactly like a suburb. So that was then. The tour got canceled, and I wanted to bring it back. So fast forward to our discussion in anticipation of this tour, and I got some feedback. So some of you who were here said, we'd like to do some tourist things. We want to go to Japan and do some tourist things. And I said, but the trip's already planned. We don't have time for any tourist things. But we want to do some tourist things. So could we do some tourist things like Hiroshima and Kyoto? So that was one part. Another part of my little ear was Michael. And Michael was saying, we need to add some free time in Seoul and in Tokyo so that they may go do things while they're there without you having everything regimented. We need a little free time. And then there was my own memory where I said, these 2 cities aren't going to do diddly pupkas for us. So what I decided to do was take out the one in Japan because Kyoto has a Buddhist mega shrine again and again and again. So you're not going to miss out on anything in our removing Yamagata and moving it to Kyoto. All right, so you're getting the same thing. And then we're going to add in Hiroshima. The city in Korea, Songnam, we're going to drive through and I'm going to point it out to you, but I didn't need to devote a whole day to Songnam because they're not going to do anything with us. And it's a suburb and there's nothing really there to see except the dog market. And I think a lot of you weren't going to want to go to the dog market because you know what the dog market is, right? Okay. Okay, so what I decided to do was to mix all of these together. So we're going to have 2 days extra so that you may see Seoul and Tokyo. We're going to see Hiroshima and Kyoto. And all together, that's how I ended up modifying from what I was going to do in 2020. So let's deep dive in here. We're going to fly to Korea. I lived in Korea. I love Korea. It's my favorite ethnic food of the Asian countries that I have, I visited, and I visited a lot. It's my favorite. I love the Korean people. They're great. We're going to get to Seoul. I am so excited to show you Seoul. I lived there. It is a wonderful city. So many people skip Korea. They want to go to Japan. They want to go to Thailand, China. When people say Korea, what? Why do I want to go to Korea? Okay, and Ralph is saying that Castle Niho in Kyoto is worth a visit. We are absolutely going there. Yes, we are. I think we're going there. Yeah, I didn't list where we're going in Kyoto entirely, but we are going there. Korea, it's an amazing place. You're gonna love it. So on our first day, we just get there. The next day, we get out to see all these wonderful things. Gyeongbokgung Palace, the Korean History Museum, the Namdaemun Market, which is histrionic in the extreme. These are all these wonderful things. They're going to be right not near our hotel, so it's going to be very easy access. The next day, we're going to go to the Korean Folk Village, which is kind of like going to Williamsburg, Korea style. All right. Williamsburg is the original United States. The Suwon Folk Village is Korea, as it was 400, 500, 600 years ago. It's wonderful. It's a great place to visit. Then we're going to go to the local Disney World, aka Lotte World, which it's just fun. It's just so much fun. So in between, I have other things that I'm going to be pointing out to you, going to be showing you. So there's a lot there. Seoul is an amazing city. It is no longer a polluted city. It's funny, when the Koreans determine they're going to do something, such as, wow, our air sucks, let's clean it. They do it. All right. So suddenly you have crystal clear air. Okay. Now, then is your free day. My suggestion for those of you who haven't is do your trip to the DMZ on that day. I will help you because I've already done it. There's a way to do it. That way you make check mark another country. You're not going to get to see a lot of North Korea, but you'll get to say you went into North Korea. And I will tell you, creepy. Have any of you been? Maria, have you been? Okay, Linda, just Linda. It's creepy, but it's worth it because this is this place where these two countries are staring daggers at each other and you almost feel as if you sneeze, someone's going to shoot you. Don't worry, they don't. All right. Actually, maybe I shouldn't say that. Anyway, you're gonna have the chance to do that. If you don't want to do that, there are a lot of other things that you may do in the immediate area. There's art, there's hiking, there's all kinds of food. I've already been to the DMZ, so what I'm thinking of doing that day is a food tour. But yes, it's going to be a great day. From there, we fly to Hiroshima, and we're going to see all of the items in Hiroshima that you would need to see. A lot of very sad stories there. I mean, there's just no avoiding it. But it's worth it. I think it's a story that we all need to be reminded of. Oh, and I forgot to tell you why. Okay, I wrangled back and forth over this. Okay, I already got that. So you land in Hiroshima. Have any of you landed in Hiroshima? I have landed. Their airport is even farther away from town than DIA. All right. So first you have to get a bus in, but the bus drops you off here, but that's not where the hotels are. The hotels are way over here, which are nowhere near all of the things that you want to see. So what you do is you transfer into town, then you transfer to your hotel. The next day you have to transfer back, and then you have to transfer back to your hotel. And then the next day, you have to get a transfer to the train station, which is a completely different place. And then you have to go to Kyoto. From Kyoto, downtown and where all the hotels are not by the train station. So you have to transfer to your hotel. Then you have to transfer to all the things to see. Lots of transfers. And all of them not only were insane, were involving a lot of coordination, but they're very expensive. And here's the thing. I've been to Japan multiple times. Personally, I know Michael has a better opinion. I had a really hard time there finding anyone who spoke English. It was weird. You would think it would not be so. I guess I just have a don't speak English to me face. I had a hard time finding anyone. Do you need to obtain a visa? No, you do not need to obtain a visa for either of these countries. I had a hard time finding anyone who spoke English. And as a vegetarian, I had a hard time finding anything to eat too. I did. Here's the thing, in Japan and in Korea, in the olden days, things were so terrible that they couldn't afford meat. But now both countries are so prosperous that I'm not joking. They add meat to everything simply to show that they're prosperous. When I was in Japan, I went to an Indian restaurant thinking, finally, I can eat something. They made the Indians from India in the Indian restaurant in Japan add meat to all of their vegetarian dishes because no one would buy them otherwise. So I said to the guy, can I have something without meat, please? Anyway, he took pity on me and gave me some sag paneer without giant chunks of meat in it. No one does that in Japan because they all want to eat the meat. But I ended up eating, weirdly enough, at 7-Eleven a lot in Japan, which is very different. Anyway, so what did I get us? I got us a bus and a translator. So once we land in Hiroshima, for the rest of the trip, but one, we're going to have the bus and we're going to have a translator. All right. I realize that's going to take us out of a lot of bus transfers and all that, but I think it's going to be better. The only time we're not riding the bus in Japan, our personal bus, I did want all of us to have the experience of riding the bullet train. So we're going to ride one leg of the bullet train and the bus will meet us where we land, or not land, where we arrive. Okay. So part of the reason this trip is expensive is that bus alone. The bus with the translator by itself is a giant, giant chunk of money. But we're going to have a translator. We're going to have our own bus. We're not going to have to transfer back and forth, which means carrying all your luggage up and down the escalators, all these things. We're going to have it as easy as it's possible to have it in Japan. So in Korea, we're there such a short time and we're covering such short distances, it's much easier. We're only going to need a bus one day when we go out to the folk village. Everything else is right there. And we're going to be able to use the subway because our hotel is next to everything. Okay, so that's part of why this tour is more expensive, because of that blessed bus. And we have to pay for a hotel room for the driver and a separate hotel room for the translator because the bus driver doesn't speak English. But I guess it's okay. We're in Japan, which is fine. Okay, so we ride to Kyoto. In Kyoto, we get to see a whole bunch of things here. I put some of them down. Not all of them are there, but our bus is going to get us everywhere we need to go. All right, and then next page. Now we start our sister city part of the trip. We're going to go to Fuji Yoshida, which is a sister city with Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs sits at the base of our most iconic mountain. Fuji Yoshida sits at the base of Mount Fuji. So we're going to have a sister city tour there. They're very excited to have us. They're going to show us this beautiful, it's a resort town. It's a beautiful city. I've been there. It's wonderful. We're going to do all that on that day. Then we're going to transfer to the city of Moriya, which is a sister city with Greeley. I'm almost going to guarantee you that none of you have heard of Moriya. That's because it's just one of those little towns that you don't go to accidentally, but it is a sister city with Greeley. And I have to say, when I said, I want to come do a tour, they about dropped their teeth. They were so excited. So they're going to show us everything that city has to offer, including, that's one of the 2 places in Japan where Asahi beer is brewed. So we're going to get a brewery tour. All right. They're going to give us a cultural afternoon. We're going to get to wear, for those of you who want to, kimonos. You're going to get to do ink brush art. I mean, you're going to get to do all these things that are Japanese, and they're going to they're going to teach us and guide us through every single piece of it. So it's going to be amazing. Yes. And they're going to have tea for us there. Yes, in Moriya. They're going to have a tea ceremony for us. When we get to Tokyo the next day, we're going to have a free day in Tokyo. You may walk across that famous crosswalk thing. Got to do that. There are lots of things to do. So we will have suggestions for what you do in Tokyo, but you will have some free time. So you're going to have a free day in Seoul, a free day in Tokyo. So this is a solid 2 weeks. It's 14 days. We're going to be celebrating some amazing birthdays while we're there. And we're just going to be eating a lot of great food and seeing some wonderful places. So it's going to be a great tour. I will say it is a chunk of change, but I looked up on Road Scholar. This same tour, about the same amount of time, is actually a little more expensive than ours. And the Road Scholar tour does not include flights either. So the tour we're running and the tour Road Scholar runs to a lot of these same things, Japan, Korea, etc., it's the same price. Now, to be fair, the Rhodes Scholar Tour is not going to see any sister cities. They are doing more tourist-centric things. But our tour, we're going to get both. You're going to get down with the locals on this tour, which is something they don't necessarily do. I've been thinking about this for weeks because, yeah, I had my sleepless night. So it's going to be an amazing trip. I've done all of these things. It's going to be wonderful. Any questions about this? We are creating guides for you. You're going to have everything you need to do an international trip. We're going to do a pre-class. So there will be an event beforehand where we're going to go over the itinerary and I'm going to teach you a lot of history. It's the same thing we did before we did the Europe trip. So we're going to do the same one here. So there's a lot embedded in this. There's some freedom, there's some structure. You're going to have a lot. So many of you remember Sean Snow and his devotion to organs, loves organs. So Sean said very casually, you know, I should come back out of retirement and do an organ tour. You would think after so many years, Sean would know you never say anything in my presence without expecting me to do it. All right. Such as when Libby here said, I want to do the trains of Scotland. I already have it structured and built. That's 2025. All right. So Sean said it. I'm doing it. So we're going to do an organ tour. People go, organs? What? It's amazing because you get all of the history. You get to learn about the instrument. You learn about the building. And you're going to then hear the music. So it's going to be a really great tour. The organ tour, Sean will be on this tour. For those of you who haven't gotten to see him in a while or have never met him, he will be on this tour 100%. We normally go to 3 organs. Okay, Fall Colors of Colorado. I'm going to be on this tour, but Michael is building it.
So each year we have been visiting places across the United States to go and see our fall colors. This year we're going down to see them along the Blue Ridge Parkway. So next year we're gonna just visit places close to home, right here in Colorado. So 4 days and 2 national parks. And so we're going down, we're gonna go to Victor and Cripple Creek area, visit the Florissant Fossil Beds National Monument, and then overnight in Buena Vista. And then we're gonna go to Great Sand Dunes National Park and be there in the San Luis Valley, look for fall colors in that area. And then we're gonna overnight in Del Norte. And there we're gonna have a fancy meal. This has actually come recommended from Maria and Ernie at the Winslow Hotel. And so we'll have a very nice, they've undergone a lot of renovations. They have new ownership, new chefs, just a 5-star experience from what I understand. And so I wanted everyone to take part in that. And then on Thursday, October 10th, we're gonna drive up through Saguache to Gunnison. And then we're gonna go to the Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park. That's what you see in the picture behind you there. We'll visit or see fall colors in that area, making our way up to Palisade. And so you'll see portions of Grand Mesa. In that area, we'll overnight in Palisade and then return to Denver along I-70, seeing some fall colors along that route. So kind of a central and western Colorado tour in the autumn. All right, I'll let Kevin talk about this next one. I know nothing about the Wyman Historic District, but I bet there's a lot of history there.
Really is. Okay, so Wyman. We do 2 historic districts, I think, a year. This year is Country Club and Whitter Cofield. Wyman's one of those ones that everyone knows this part of town, but they don't really know its name, maybe. So you're north of Cheeseman, you're sort of northwest of the Denver Botanic Gardens, you're south of City Park. You drive through it, you drive past it, but how often do you actually go into it to look? The word for the architecture, eclectic. They really have a little of everything. So there are lots of wonderful historic houses and they're beautiful houses. So this is just going to be a basic walking tour to see the fall colors, still some with us at the end of October in town, and all of the wonderful houses in the Wyman Historic District. And we're going to talk about the history of the things around it a little bit, but it's mostly going to be about the houses. Okay, this is something we do every now and then, a Denver Divinity Tour. This is the Whatley Chapel here in the picture, which we will not be seeing, I think, because I just heard it's been sold. So I think it's going to be desanctified. That's what it's called. It's desanctified. It is real. I mean, it sounds appalling, but when you no longer have a parish in there, well, you desanctify the space, which is sad, because if they desanctify this building, one of 2 carillons in the city may also be decommissioned, which will just break my heart. But what we're going to do is we're going to go see 3 houses of worship. I don't say churches because not every building is a church. We might see a mosque or a synagogue. So I don't know which ones we're seeing. No one is willing to schedule a tour at a church or synagogue or mosque or whatever this far out, but we will see 3. My hope, the one I've been waiting for, I had it scheduled for 2020, and of course, you know what happened, is the Zera Abraham Synagogue over there by Sloan Lake. We had a tour scheduled, and you know what happened to that. So we normally try to see different faiths, different architectural styles, and you get to go in buildings you don't accidentally go into and see. So it's a wonderful, very easy day tour. Yes, Laura. So the Whatley Chapel is on the Colorado Women's College campus, right just southwest of where Stapleton Airport was. Okay, this one, we haven't done it years, so we're doing it again, sort of. This, I guess I should refer to it that way because Treasure Box Tours hasn't been around all that long, so. But I've been around for 18 years, so I guess that's what it is. So we're gonna go do the Cherokee Castle and we're gonna go do the Highlands Ranch Mansion. So if you haven't taken a tour in either of these buildings, they're both beautiful, they're both worth a go. You should have the fun of it. We're gonna get you there. There will be tours. You'll have the fun of the history, the art, the architecture, the beauty, the whole thing. So it's just the royal experience. 2 castles here in the Denver metro area. Before we go to another castle. Now this one came as a request. So Michael and I guess I should say, we do try to honor requests. We aren't always able to. Trinity Methodist does nice tours. They absolutely do, yes. So we are going to do an overnight to Glen Eyrie to go to the Madrigal. How many of you have done the Madrigal? Holy snot, no one here? But how many of you have done the Glen Eyrie Madrigal? Okay, so here's what we're doing. We're gonna go to Glen Eyrie where they have a Madrigal, which is a medieval winter festival. The king and queen of the, or not the king and queen, the lord and lady of the ball, they sing everyone in. You can see them up there. There's the royal court, there's music, there's dancing. You do not dance. You sit and eat a medieval feast, all right? But you get to watch their dancers, you get to listen to the music, you listen to a parable or 2, because of course, this is a religious festival. Here's the best part though. You don't have to drive home because we're gonna stay overnight there at Glen Eyrie. Now, a word of warning, and I need to tell you this right now. Glen Eyrie Castle, you may stay at Glen Eyrie Castle, and we are staying at Glen Eyrie Castle, but they only have so many rooms. So the first, however many people who sign up will be the ones who get the rooms in the castle. After that, they have other more hotel room-like buildings on the site. Does that make sense? So the castle, I forget, it's 12 or 15 rooms, something like that. When they run out, we'll go to the hotel on site. So I'm just warning you now, there are only so many rooms in the castle, but we will overnight on the Glen Eyrie site. We'll have breakfast there at the castle. Then we're going to go explore some of the holiday items in Colorado Springs, beautifully decorated places before we return to Denver. So it's just an overnight. But this way you don't have to drive home after the Madrigal because it'll be 10:30 at night. How many of you get to stay in the Glen Eyrie Castle, right? So we're gonna make a full day of it. It's going to be wonderful. And this will be our voice of winter in the Springs. Okay, now we decided to continue the trend with Winter Diamonds, but we're going to come back to Denver. So here's Michael. I will be on this tour, but Michael is running.
I'm the voice of luxury for Treasure Box Tours.
He is.
I like to dip my toes a little bit into the side of life. So Winter Diamonds. So yeah, this year we are doing Northern Colorado. We do still have space for this year's tour, and we are taking a bus on this year's tour. So it's Fort Collins, Estes Park, and Boulder. Next year in 2024, we're going to come back to Denver, but it's not just downtown Denver that we're going to be staying at. So the first day is going out to Aurora. Aurora actually has a very fine hotel. It is the Gaylord of the Rockies. So we will visit the Gaylord of the Rockies. They have their little Christmas presentations, and we'll have a fine meal there. I don't advise anyone to go swimming. HVAC systems might fall on you. It will be wintertime, so you might not want to be in the pool. That is a very unfortunate event. I just saw that and I said, oh, well, we have a year and a half before we go here, so they'll likely have all of that fixed. So for this tour, it is a caravan tour. You bring your own vehicle. Valet parking is included at each hotel, and then we'll give you directions to the next place. So you'll park there at the Gaylord, and then you'll drive to downtown Denver. We're going to stay at the Renaissance Hotel, which is the former Colorado National Bank building, which is what you see in the background there. And so a different historic, nice property in downtown Denver. We've done the Brown Palace, we've done the Crawford, the Oxford, Hotel Teatro. So now we're going to do the Renaissance. And then that evening, so we'll have some lunch, you'll have some free time. And then that evening, we'll do a Christmas lights tour through downtown, and we'll go to all the sites where they put up nice holiday displays. And then we'll get you into the Christkindl Market. And so keep empty stomach so you can fill it with sauerkraut, bratwurst, pretzels, pierogies, and Glühwein, because they'll have plenty of Glühwein there. And then we'll just go back to the hotel, and then we're going to drive out to Golden. We'll have some lunch there in Golden. We're going to do a tour there in Golden with one of the folks that runs Golden History Tours. And then we're going to stay overnight at the Eddy, which is on the far west side of Golden. It's not there in downtown, but it is a restored former brick factory, I believe. It's where the old Briarwood used to be. I'm looking at Maryland, and the roads to the hotel are very narrow. They may fit one car, so bring your big Cadillac Escalade and your boats and everything down that road. We will still have a nice day there in Golden. And then that morning, you just eat breakfast and you head home. But it is a really nice way to kind of end the year with all of our travels. So that is all we have for 2024. But wait, there's more.
So that you may plan, we thought we'd throw in a little bit of 2025. So this year, January of this year, we did the National Parks of South Florida. It was a hoot and a holler. So 2 years from this last January, we will do the National Parks of Southern California. There are 3, and we're going to see them all. So we're going to start in Palm Springs so that we may go to Joshua Tree. Again, desert. What's the best time to be there? Winter. So we're going to go to Joshua Tree when it's at its best. We're going to learn all about those iconic plants, have the history. So 2 days in Joshua Tree. From there, we're going to go to Death Valley. We are going to be staying in the park. So there are some really iconic hotels in the park. So we're going to be right there, very close to everything. Along the way, we're going to see the Borax Visitor Center because everyone needs to know how they mined borax, right? Once upon a time. There you go. So you'll get your Death Valley on. Everyone will get to try his or her piece of salt. When we get down to the lowest point in the United States, the salt is very salty. From there, after we say hi to the tortoises, we're going to head off to the coast. We are going to be in the Ventura area because we're going to go to Channel Islands National Park. Now, both Joshua Tree and Death Valley, super easy to approach. You just drive to them. The Channel Islands, sorry, those are islands. Guess how many facilities they have? Really none, all right? So the tour includes our boat transit out to the Channel Islands both days. One of the days we're going to do a whale watching tour. One of the days we're going to go out to the islands and you're going to get some hiking and picnicking on. If you don't want to hike, the hikes are not terrible, but they are hikes. If you don't want to hike, that would be your free day in the beautiful coast there. You've got Oxnard, what's the beach with the V? Ventura. Well, no, there's another one. Well, anyway, there are some beautiful beaches right in that area. That would be your free day if you don't want to go out to Channel Islands. I can't remember the pretty place, but there's something there. We'll advise you. So you'll have that option. But we have 2 days at Channel Islands National Park. And then back to Los Angeles to go. So 3 national parks, each one with 2 days in it. So this is going to be that sampler of the national parks with a little bit of luxury there in Death Valley when we stay at their hotel on site. Now, I didn't have to do this, but I did anyway. We're going to end in Southern California. So I have to tell you, this month, I have now been in this business for 18 years. Yeah, crazy. You wouldn't have thought it. I did seriously consider, actually I'm joking, I shouldn't say that. I did briefly consider retiring because I received earlier this year the best compliment I've ever received in my entire life, and I will never do better. So I thought I should just quit now while I'm ahead. After our trip to Disney World, I received a comment from someone I won't say. She said, "You've ruined Disney World for me. I can never go back because this was so perfect. Nothing will equal it," right? I thought about retiring right there because I have ascended to Disney heaven, right? But we're going to celebrate the most important day of the year in Disneyland with the Disneyland Extravaganza. Now, go back one, please. Notice the price. So the price is high and it's set. Why is the price high? When we were at Disney World, we stayed at what's called a value resort. But I have decided, I've made the executive decision that at Disneyland, we're going to stay at the Grand Floridian, not the Grand Floridian, the Grand Californian, excuse me. We're going to stay at the hotel. It is connected, literally connected to the park. So it is expensive. It's between $800 and $900 a night. But I said, all right, we're going to do it. We're going to go whole hog. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. How much of a commute to the park? It's super, super close. So that is why the price is more expensive, because we are staying at a fancy, very expensive, but I have stayed there, very nice hotel. So this may be attached to the National Parks of Southern California tour. You may just stay with me and celebrate the best day of the year with me. If you don't want to go to the National Parks of South California, you could just do the Disneyland Extravaganza. I mean, why wouldn't you go to the national parks with me? But if you don't want to, let's say you've done all those national parks, you may just show up for my giant smile, splitting my face with glee. I basically never stop being frantically happy when I'm at Disney. And some of the folks here can attest to that. So the first day, Disneyland, group dinner, overnight at Disneyland. Next day, Disneyland, group dinner. I mean, we're just going to do. That's why it's very generic. It's just Disneyland. We're going to see both of the parks. We're going to eat. I have all the places already chosen. We're going to stay at the Grand Californian. It's going to be epic. And then after celebrating the best day of the year, you're going to head home. And you will be, and I use this word intentionally, beatified. All right? All right? That is what you will be. You haven't lived until you've experienced Disney with me. All right, so the National Parks of Southern California. So let's go on and do some other things. I'm so verbose here. Personalized adventures. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to go somewhere, tell me, tell Michael, we'll design it for you. If you want, we'll design it for you, hand it over, go, have fun. If you want, we'll go with you. So you have options. I have designed tours for friends. I've designed tours for business. You have options. If you want to go, but you don't want to do all the work, let us do the work for you. Personalized adventures will get you where you want to go. With one caveat, it does have to be legal. Treasure boxes. We are treasure box tours because during the pandemic, we couldn't travel with you. So we did these treasure boxes so that you could get out and have the fun of it. We still have these. So they are still out there. If you know one person or a family who would like them, grab them. Ways to travel without having anyone along with you. Maybe you're a misanthrope. Okay, the Capital Collection book, strictly speaking, is on sale. You don't have to go on any tours. If you want to do your capital journey yourself, you may buy the book and start your journey. There are stamps in every single capital. And that's right, I drove 16,503 miles to deliver them. So grab your Capital Collection book and get going. And remember, capital with an O. Okay, look at this beautiful treasure map. What's prettier in this picture? Well, it's this, right? Look at that beautiful map. Ladies and gentlemen, these are going to come to you electronically. You're going to get a PDF if you haven't already. If you would like a physical copy, let us know. We will mail one to you for free. Our request is just send them to a good home. Please don't order a bunch and just put them in the recycle. We're still a small business, 2 people. So please find a good home for them. Let us know. We will send you one. There's a form on our website for you to request one. Okay, where to go in 2025? Libby said, I want to see the trains of Scotland. Pat Martin said, I want to do raclettes. We will listen to you as much as possible. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to get to all of them. We only have so much time. Please let us know where you want to go. A lot of our ideas, places I've never heard of, they come from you. So tell us, we will try to get there. I don't know when, but we will try to get to them all. Our list is pages long, but we will try to get there. So let us know. We're going to do this same event next year. And please spread the word. We're still a small business. One day we expect we will buy Rhodes Scholar, but until then, we are still trying to grow. There I am with my big old open mouth again. And there's our fine mark right there as a little tribute. So please spread the word. And then, ladies and gentlemen, setting the course early bird special. Remember, it's through September 15th. You may give us some of these sheets tonight if you have them. Are there any questions? Thank you for braving the rain, by the way, Libby. Yes, we have a whole chocolate tour treasure box. If you like your chocolate, just prepare yourself. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's good. It does take weeks to get through the chocolate. Does anyone have any questions? Please take some cookies home. I think the rain scared a lot of people from coming, so please take some cookies. Thank you for joining, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you out there. Stay dry, and we'll see you again soon. It was. I love this night. It's my favorite night of the year. Okay, hi, Pat and Ed. I see you there. Happy night. I'm shutting us down, but I'm happy to see you. Oh, hi, Sue. I see you there too. Oh, hey, look, there's Tookie and Jerry, all of them. Okay, I'm sorry I didn't get to see you, but I'll see you again soon.
We'll see you soon,
I
Kevin.
love it.
Take care, buddy.
Woo, woo.